Should we wait for? Okay. Phật Phật Đô Xuân Chế Đô Chên Bồ Chế Tên Chế Cang Tham Chế Đà Kê Na Vê Long Chên Bồ Vô Đơn Đê Yong Sư Chế Bái Chế Phật Yī Chế Rang Tsai Chên Trư Chế Cang Trù Ma Bá Đơ Mê Bê Xuân Sê Rù Trà Lan Chế Đà Đà Mê Nì Lô Chế Ngan Đô Chế Bá Chú Hey Soi Kando Soje Dang Yum Cheng A Ye Chen La Je Po Doi Nya Po Wan De De Mo De De Mo Wan De De Wan De De La Se Je De 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 Wan De Tam Je Se Je Nan Je Je Yam Zen Jogging Udunye Bema Jone Jesu Dai Kodokan Mambe Go Jeje Jesu Dadu Jinje Labje Jesu Guru Bema Zede Dombo la yam zen choking udunye bema jone jesu dai godun kandu mambu jeje jesu dadu je jenje la je jesu zon guru bema zede Dombo la yam zen jogging udunye bema jone jesu dai kodun kandu mambu koi jeje jesu dadu je jenje jesu zon guru bema zede
Page 5.
Jagu Gombai Lonzo Kaje Wan Bao Ga Yonde Zoje Jon Drove Jamgue Uje Rembo Je Sanje Kunle Doje Nyuve Dusma Jave Jenze Nupe Ba Chada Koje Jeba Jade Mugu Donve Ngaro Sovande Duje Masha Nyime Zemjen La Duje
Junje me pa
Genji Zeng Unji Shaje Tamja Deme Na Sowa Nyinen Depe Ganza
la
Chinji Lavje Jesu Zemba Dai Keje Deme Lai Keje Menda Me Jesu
Junje Sila mi gonza
Dungen Abje Jeru Danda Lai Tuso Jenje Me Ba Jenje Lo Lo Nye Se Mugen Trozo Dai Mamu Daya Deje Ponse Re Me Chur Gon La Me Nibe Zoi Jante Gombo Monlo Denje Dai Bega Bonje Danze Bongo Shinde Rinje Chonde Sun Lai Sewa Dan Gute Baje Deje Zon Tamje Doje Dove Dela Pai Kolo Kolo Oje Rembo Inne Shen Doje Donjen Zai Dage Kundro Yangzhu Zhuo Lo Mende Nye Zo Yongzhu Gun Tu Zai Ne Do Zhabu Do Jun Zoi Ten Zoi Ge Yang Da Da Be Den Jing Gong Bo Je La Zo Wan De San Be Dong Gun Be Me Lun Run Din Ne Ze Ra Dam Je De Le Jeng En Be Wan De Men Ro She O Je Jen Be Gong Lo Je Zhun Kan Su Ko Wai Dong Zhun De Hoi Shu Yom Ai Hon Ben Zang Gu Ben Ma Se De Hoi Ma Hoi Chab Da Dun Be Gong Boi Kun De Zan Lun Zhu Long Ring Ai Kan Chen Zoi Do Je Da Nye Re Son Do Ve Gun So Wan De So Da Men Zhu Du Gan Dun Ze Nam Je San Je Don De Se Shang Se Nye Ran Ban Zo Dan Zam Len Ze Pe Gen Zhu Chon Ye La So Wan De So Da Je Men Zhong Zoi Shen De Pum Be Kun Gen Jia Le Wan Zheng Ge Ba Shi Le Zhen Jia We Wang Bo O Je Ben Man Zhu So Wan De Da Ju Men Zhong Zoi Jia De Nyen Je Wang Bo Shi Wan Zoi Den Be Shen Zheng A Da Zhe Son Yi Shi Ju Me Kun Yen Be Ma La So Wan De So Da Ju Men Zhong Zoi Yi Shi Yen Jin Kan Zhong Zoi Jia Ma Ke Shen Zhe Pa Pu Jin Be Ro Je Sam Jin Zun Zin Jin Ba Nye Sheng A So Wan De Da Ju Men Zhong Zoi De Soi Go Shu Yang Da Dun Den Shen Zhe Ba Ngo Zhe Nian Dong De Zhen Ren Ta Be Lam De Soi Ten Zhen Je Wu Nam So Wan De Dan Ne Se Rai Se Ju Dam Je De Ke Je Men Ra Se We Je Su Soi Sam Be Dong Yi Shen Zhe Ba Dan De Je Men De Ge Bai Kun Le Joy Gan Son Je Je Ya Wu Yon Ne Du Nye Lun Zhui Gu Nye Lun Zhui Zhui Ma Hu De Je Nye Bo Nan Da Da Je Shen De Je Nang Ho Chu De Nam Je Ran Nai Dun Bai Chu De So Wan De Da Do Zhu Ba Shi Ba Chen Je Lo Me Shen Zhu Ba Ngu Shen Te Bai De Je Lo Me Re Na Ka Rai Ju So La Ma Tra La So Wan De Ne Lo Ngon Du Ju Wa Chen Je Lo Ka sanje ngonje lama nanjur wanju nuden doje shirai buje baba shari yanda ngonjur loba hongara Drubchod joy junye ngonjur drumje kana lai druba heba junjo wa druba jenye dundur doje za kaju nenyo dundur roba zai junye londo doje drowo Dondre Drubai Jata Rimshe Shai Jakuen Gomban Dupa Sovande Kova Done Drupa Jinje Loi Chime Tuso Doje Rapo Dujai Tembo Danje Yeme Du Shamba Laru Doje Nombo Sanje Mubanda Yeje Kanso Enkowa Done Druba Lame Lama Jola Sovande Jela Teje Sova Tabendu Checho Chenye Demba Ngondo Je Tega Naje Nyamle Taje Je ne bongo yanda zanje jo. Sale
Index 2.
Choju de jaya mazawa mebe gowa denjena benza samha enza
25.
Nambe jena
23.
Jujinje laba ju
26.
Drubchod
32.
che gomba mai gandro to da gavele gavan cho je ba jai ka zong go go san de shen ne ngon je ngo zhe zong ban zhe du ma man ba la ma de Zagama Simi Sanjay Guru Ha Ho Banga Zagama Namada Namada Kama Samaya Sato Aham Bada Samaya Manapala Sanjay Guru Ha Ho Banga Zagama Namada Kama Samaya Sato Benza do the Galebamanaza home then no need, just I said like this, that means this.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Since we are doing practice of Tramanamo and I'm sure we are in the best attitude, mental attitude as we can establish, such as being the practice being the Mahayana, within the Mahayana, then as a good perfection, Vajrayana, within the Vajrayana, so then this particular cycle belongs to the great perfection cycle, so therefore, so anyway, we're supposed to have that establishment. Then, in this our gathering, through this media things, then we have sanghas of senior sanghas, sanghas as an newer sanghas in the Dharma in generally and particularly into our own lineage, His Eminence Chandra Rinpoche's mandala. So, first of all, then I'd like to express my of course, great respect and devotion to our teacher, and then also to all the Vajra brothers and sisters. And such practice which we are engaged as a Tramanamu, as a belonging to the Guru perfection cycle, yet ourselves being in that level of mind in order to understand, it is questionable. Nevertheless, we have the opportunity, karma, to engage the lineage such as Longshen Yingtik lineage, such as Dunjum Truma lineage, and we are very fortunate and we should have this appreciation in our life in general, and basically in every day we should have an appreciation. As we as we look around, many beings don't have such a birth that has all of these conditions, and many ways that we can see ourselves as being, as having some virtue accumulated in the past. Through that virtue's result, and we have this precious human birth, and having this kind of opportunity to attend, to receive the lineage, and to have the opportunity to reflect on the teachings and practices and so forth. So basically, it is always important to think of that way. And then, as in our own lineage, we all remember that our teacher, Rinpoche, Chandra Rinpoche, always encourages us to really contemplate on the forethoughts, contemplates on the trainings of Bodhicitta. These things we all heard many times, and those who have not met Rinpoche but met Rinpoche's senior students, those who become those who he appointed as teachers, lamas, they also convey the same kind of a message that we have to basically really know how to recognize the teachings as being something very important and very precious by how the teacher emphasizes, not by what we want to do. Us as practitioners, us in a sense of new practitioners, we don't know, we don't have enough wisdom to see, and masters like him knows exactly who we are, what we need, and therefore it is extremely important to really reflect on the teachings such as these trainings. And I will not go into the one-on-one, but as a reminder, more you have trainings on these things, the more you will have a good heart, positive mind. Because reflecting on these teachings, he really understands how we get into samsara deeper and deeper. Getting into samsara deeper and deeper, it is not by a positive mind. It is by negative mind or the confusion mind. The negative mind is basically manifest through the what I call poisons, such as 5 poisons. And then these things, such as jealousy, pride, stupidity, anger, desire, and these things. And when we understand the source, when we have a proper training in these things, and then we know what is the source of suffering and what is the source of happiness, then that understanding helps us to be on the right track, and also others, those who are engaged in action of some kind like ourselves, and when we see beings engaging in negative actions, there is a sense of natural arising of loving compassion towards them. And through having some sense of kind of eliminating the force of the poisons within, when we see others doing something good, there will be joy in us. Others being good doesn't become threat to you. And being able to develop that kind of a mind, and then we grow in a positive way, bigger and bigger, because once our own this negative, judgmental mind is become less and less and less, and then we see more and more positives in others. Then self-developing in a positive also happens much easy.
much easier. Anyway, so having a training in these things, it makes our mind completely workable. Put it in that way. And then we are we belong into the path of Mahayana. How can we practice year after year, year after year, till we die, having a jealousy, having a competitive attitude, these things, it doesn't work, doesn't go with the practice of Mahayana. Constant having that kind of a attitude, mental negative emotions such as jealousy, envy, and these things, it every day it contaminates our bodhisattva vow, practice of bodhicitta. And these negative attitudes don't go with the practice of Mahayana. And then think, are we developing our practice of bodhicitta, which is Shenpen Shitan Chepa, the ground of the practice of bodhicitta is none other than to serve others. Does that idea exist with the envy? Does that idea exist with a competitive jealousy? No. So this is the way we have to look. We practice and we hold the hand together very nicely of the mudra of the bodhicitta prayers and stuff, but then not reflecting how we are really practicing that. We, of course, we are in the path of accumulation, and so therefore we will not have the similar practice of bodhicitta as bodhisattva of bhumi beings, such as path of seeings and so forth. But we have to have that aspiration, same as bodhisattvas, same as the Buddhas. Application may be different based on our own abilities, how much we can benefit and bring benefit and so forth, but we have to have that. If we can't become familiar with the practice of bodhicitta in a sense of a relative bodhicitta, aspiration bodhicitta, engagement bodhicitta, these things, how can we have the taste of the absolute bodhicitta? Not easy. And so therefore, we really have to reflect, and what we have given as a teachings from our teacher is something very, very precious and very very powerful one, simple yet powerful. And then that applies to everyone. For example, having a sense of this, developing a quality of these things applies to everyone, such as those who are sitting on the thrones, as a head of a monasteries, head of nunneries, um, lay practitioners, monks, basically everyone applies. If someone is sitting on a throne, person, but has no rejoicement of others' goodness, envy and jealousy and things like this, it doesn't say so much about the person sitting on the throne. Such as a Sangha in general, if someone practices, and all kinds of practices of Mahayana in general, and particularly Vajayanas, but in the tune, in the practice session, or out of the practice session as a, post meditation, having all of these things, jealousy, envy, and like this, it doesn't say so much about the person's practice. Basically, minute you see envy thing arising in someone's, towards someone's well-being, goodness, someone is arising a competitive kind of these things arising towards someone's well-being and goodness, it doesn't say so much about the person's practice of bodhicitta. It's a very clear red alert, red flag, so to speak. So therefore, as I always trying to look myself in this way and also tell people, such as Padre Rinpoche, this the commentary on Ngondro was my perfect teacher, and that is received from his teacher Jigme Javanyugu, giving that kind of a teaching, him reflecting and practicing mind training of that kind of very seriously, and he put down that into book. As you see, half of the book is on the trainings on the four thoughts and the four immeasurables and things like that. That's the way the masters of those great masters think, cherish, embrace, and then that's the way they become a great great practitioners. And we have to have that, we have to see that as a footsteps, as an example, and follow in that footsteps, and then we will have a transformations. If you just jump around, after 10 years not even having a dent, then still having a jealousy, still having an envy, all those things like this, it's just really becoming a life waste. So therefore, it is very, very important to pay attention in that way. And then us engaging in the practice of this Tramanamo, and of course at Atiling PPI we do every year this Drubchod, and this trauma is, of course, generally it is a very, very profound practice. Unfortunately, this time, this COVID-19 sicknesses, for that also, this is the most powerful one, because it really the drakinis of the Tramanamo, drakinis of the basically red news are none other than the manifestation or the expression of the Tramanamo. It is a Tramanamo's mandala. It's a outer, inner, and secret way of dispelling, overcoming all the obstacles. As we beginning of the Asam Splendor times, then as you read, the invoking those dakinis of the five wisdom dakinis and so forth, function of that is to eliminating or subduing the negative forces of the five, arising of those demonic natures of the five poisons. And also, then as you see, that also subduing the hindrance of the nagas and hindrance of the spirits and hindrance of all the things as you read in there. So basically, outwardly, outer, whatever they may be as a hindrance energies, then those are also all subdued by the dakinis. And then, as an inner point of view, whatever they may be, as through our own confusion, collective negatives may have within our own this existent forms, then those kind of through the practice of the Tramanamo, then offering that as our own consciousness transforms, shoots out in above our own crown chakra as a Tramanamo, and then our body as becoming part of the Gana chakra chok, and that kind of way of kind of eliminating or purifying the karmas through that offerings of a great Gana chakras. Then in the essence, through that, what it brings is none other than the helps to cut the essential force is none other than the self-clinging. Then that also helps to cut or overcome, subdue by the practice of Tramanamo. And so therefore it is a very, very important practice. And then when we are visualizing the Dakini of the three kayas above our own crown chakra, visualizing, and then us praying one pointedly. And then these things are also as a basically where we relate to that as a then the relative refuge. Then the relative refuge, where it arises, it arises from your own absolute nature. So that your own absolute nature is the ultimate absolute refuge. In the one hand, you can say the refuge in front is none other than the expression of your own nature, primordial nature. So therefore, to have that understanding always like that, and then further going down as our self, our form visualizing as a Tramanamo, of course, that is also falls in that idea as a skillful mean point of view. It is a relative aspect. Then that visualization, and you basically not having two personalities within you, but you visualize truly seeing that yourself is none other than Tramanamo, that inseparability is very, very important. Once you have a practice of Tramanamo, or any practice of these deity yoga things in a very dualistic nature, I am practicing Tramanamo, I am visualizing Tramanamo, that kind of way, then you will never accomplish. Through the uh, uh, primordial state of mind, from there arising you in the form of a Tramanamo, and then you being a Tramanamo, being basically how you call it, a pride of deity, having that sense of confidence. That kind of way of practicing, and then it really works. In the essence, when we do a proper kind of trainings from the beginning, then that really help us to basically kind of makes it's like a perfect dough. That once you have a perfect dough, and then you can shape things. For example, if you have a perfect dough, so then you can make tolma and these things in the right kind of proper shapes. Similarly, once you have a proper kind of a trainings, and we ourselves become very, very workable, in the essence, through these trainings, what it helps is it really helps to understand that all the suffering and these things comes through our own body, speech, mind, karmas. From the body, speech, mind being the conductor kind of a way, basically that we come to a conclusion that mind is the creator, conductor of all actions, either positive or negative. Positives brings happiness, negatives bring sufferings. Basically, understanding of that as being the root of our these things are all being the mind, and then we come down to this ideas. Then further training of these things really helps to break down that we know that there is body the way we cling, where we cherish. There is no exactly truth in our clinging and our cherish. There is nothing to really cherish. There's nothing to really cling. It is a temporary, very much. More we cling, only thing that we get is suffering. More cherishing to our own this body, more we get sufferings. So therefore, through these trainings, it helps to really kind of break down the understandings of the body, how the body is, how the speech is, even how the mind is. Mind is also none other than the collective thoughts. And we just follow one after another, and then following and following and following of thoughts creates further and further, deeper and deeper samsaras. And basically, knowing through the trainings, and then it really helps us to see how we create the sufferings, or how we create the further samsaras. And then when there's a sense of kind of a realization, so to speak, of putting some pause to their force. And then comes the idea of understanding, starting the understanding of, as we say, body, form, and form's nature, sound and sound's nature, thought and thought's nature. And then this we say sound's nature, form's nature is being emptiness. Sound's nature is being emptiness. Thought's nature is being emptiness. Yet it is not a complete, in the sense of a void nature. From that, it is empty yet has a, how you say, appearance. For example, this calling, both exist together. So basically, that when we have a understanding of these natures, and then we are developing more and more of, as the Vajrayana idea is, Vajra body, Vajra mind, Vajra speech, Vajra mind, things happens. More and more we're developing that quality, and then such as seeing all form as a deities, all form, all sounds as a mantras, and all thoughts as being a the pure, or we say Dhammakaya. These things. So basically, in order to have these practices, and then we have to to know the what do you call I'm forgetting, losing thoughts. Practicing times, remembering, even though we are practicing Trama Nama and so forth, but always have to have a bodhicitta. As us as a beginner practitioners can't just simply just do the drums and the things and think of Tramanamo and everything happening. It's questionable. We do all those things, as we say, as good as we can. At the same time, we have to really to have a sense of embracing the Mother Sentient beings through the practice of bodhicitta, loving compassion, and then it helps. More we engage in that kind of a way, the safer it is as our success. Then, of course, success all relies on the practice of Guru Yoga. If we are visualizing, practicing the Tramanamo, visualizing above our crown chakra and at the time of refuge and so forth, that time we have to remember that lamas basically and Dakini refuge mandala inseparable. You can think of as a Lama Dharmakaya, as a Kunduzamo, Lama Sambhogakaya, as a Vajavarahi, Lama Nimanakaya form as a Tramanamo. Or you can just simply pray to Guru, and Guru's body is like a Tramanamo, Guru's speech as a Vajavarahi, Sambhogakaya, Guru's mind as a Dharmakaya, Kunduzamo. That you can think of that way, but more, if we are more relying as a visualization of the three Dakinis, and then I will say Guru aspect of the Dharmakaya aspect of the Guru is with the Kunduzambo, Sambhogakaya Guru aspect with the Vajavarahi, Nimanakaya Guru aspect, Guru with the Nimanakaya Tramanamo. Then that kind of way you think. And then you pray one pointedly and then practice. Then, of course, when you are when you are practicing self-visualization times, and then think of as a Guru remaining in your heart, as a Vajavarahi and Kunduzamo and the Guru inseparable Karanjana Sattva aspect. You can visualize. Important part is that, for example, while we are doing trauma as a practice of sitting times, then it's always good to have Guru and then Tramanamo in our meditations. While we are in the break, pause meditation times, also all the appearance, forms, and these things also should have some sense of kind of influence of the Guru and the Lama Dakini. Especially in Dakini and the Lama inseparable should have some influence into our appearance, the how you say, perceptions, appearance, these things, and the sound and so forth. And more you can remember of the Guru, the more you can learn about the Guru. More, of course, more you can remember, the more you learn. His or her teachings, his or her compassion, way of expressing, way of the skillful means. So basically, more you can think, the more we grow in a good way. And more you know how to practice the Guru Yoga, the more it keeps us on the right track. Because there is no barrier between you and the Guru. Barrier created by our own this limited mind. There is no barriers in the mind of the Guru. The wisdom, it is an unobstructed nature. There is no difference by distance. And having that understanding, and then as students we will not make mistakes. We will not say fake things. We will not say when the Lama passed away, then says, oh, I am the heart son or the heart daughter of this and that teacher, after the Lama gone, that kind of a false, being able to give someone false information, that shows that person doesn't really have a good understanding of Guru Yoga. Why? Because the person has the understanding, oh, Guru's mind is limited. He's dead, so therefore, or she's dead, so therefore, whatever I say, he or she will not understand, or he or she will not see or hear. Guru Yoga, if we know how to pray it properly, Guru is always with us. By Guru being always with us, then that helps us to keep on the right track. Sometimes people say, oh, I'm disciple of so and so, and then I was giving all the teachings and like one vase to another vase full and so forth. I don't know exactly how to say this in English. But you can tell by behavior of the person if it's really a full or not. By behavior, you can tell right away. If it's a one pumbaa to another pumbaa is pouring and filled, that means that person should have a similar view, meditation and conduct as the Guru. Being completely opposite is all about me, like this kind of stuff. It shows that it is transmitting a false information to others. That means it's creating a confusion, isn't it? So it is very, very important. Vajrayana practice is all about, basically, based on Guru Yoga. So therefore, since it is the foundation, basically, Guru Yoga is the foundation, so therefore, we have to know how to practice. If the Guru Yoga is not the foundation or the main thing, okay, you can push the Guru Yoga on the side. But there is no gaining without the Guru Yoga, so how can we put that one as a very minor, pushing aside and then just doing something? If someone is a very, wise, if they can't accomplish, but at least they're trying to pretend that way, yeah? It's nice, at least. But then completely doing opposite is very sad. So anyway, since we are practitioner of the Vajrayana, then Guru Yoga practice, whatever we do practice as a 3 roots, whatever the practice is, Guru always involves in. Our own Guru in the Guru Mandalas, our own Guru with the Yidam Mandalas, our own Guru with the Drakini Mandalas. So therefore, that inseparable is a very, very important thing. Then after all, then that also have to have a sense of kind of understanding that it is absolute Guru is our own pure nature. And then we know, then having that trust or the conclusion will help you to have a success will happen. Not having any sense of absolute Guru as being your own true nature, and then practicing, then there's nothing really to reveal. Revelation will not happen. And so therefore, always have to, whatever we do, it all has to be involved with our own true nature. For example, when we are developing a refuge mandala, it is also involves with your own true nature. That syllable says, oh, from my heart, syllable hum, from there light shines forth, and then the arising of the Dakini stuff, all those things. Your hum is being your own absolute nature. Yourself transforms into a Tramanamo because it is your own absolute nature. From that absolute nature, so then the dynamic display of the absolute nature becomes the Tramanamo. So everything that what we do, it always involves with our own absolute nature. We are not trying to become somebody else. Through the practice, we are revealing our own true nature, which is no different than the Tramanamo, which is not different than the Vajakilaya, which is not different than our own Guru and Guru Rinpoche, and so forth. So anyway, as a Lama, as a senior students, Sanghas, we all have a big responsibility in right this now, I'm sitting here and talking, and I have a big responsibility giving a proper, how you say, information, giving a proper right, how you say, offerings, not saying something that don't exist in and then also, as a senior student, also like this, that we have to, basically what I'm trying to say is that as me sitting here, I should have a proper conduct of body, speech, mind. Similarly, as a senior practitioners, also to have a proper, virtuous conduct of body, speech, and mind, not being out of proportion kind of a way, then it doesn't create a confusion in newer practitioners and doesn't create a confusions in those who are not a practitioner at all. We don't want to cause someone to have a wrong view, someone to have a negative thoughts. If we can't help others, but we definitely don't want to harm others. And so therefore, we all have our responsibilities, being careful with our own body actions, being careful with our own speech actions, being careful with our mind actions. And it is very, very important because of our actions can be, might be a very small negative actions, either by body or speech or whatever, depends on some people may be able to tolerate. Some people may not be able to tolerate. So then it can become a harm. So therefore, we always have to remember what we have as a vow is the bodhisattva vow. Bodhisattva vow. Bodhisattva vow then involves not harming others. So therefore, harming doesn't mean that only by physical, verbal. Physical hurting, verbal hurting, of course, mental. And so therefore, we always have to remember that what we have is what we are, who we are. We are practitioner of Mahayana. What we have as a vow is the bodhisattva vows. And so therefore, of course, in a day, we pray that we don't have a action of negative through body, speech, and mind arising in our daytimes. They pray, not even having these things in the night sleep times. We have to pray that daytime and nighttime we always have to remember, remember who we are, what we have as a Mahayana point of view. And then on the top of that, as a Vajrayana point of view, so then always remembering our own chosen practice deities, remembering our own our teacher, guru, then through that it helps us to, as we said before, it helps to keep us on the right track as general practices, and then also, of course, as our through judgmental, what comes out as a physical reaction, verbal reactions, then these things will become less and less and less, and then eventually we will have some sense of kind of a pure view. Seeing forms becomes part of our meditation of the deity yoga. Hearing a sound becomes a part of the deity yoga meditation as a mantra, seeing as a enlightened speech. Then thought arisings of, then also has seeing a meditation in the thought, because thought's nature is none other than the absolute Dharmakaya. So therefore, as a practitioners of Vajrayana, every form arising in front of our own visual, so to speak, should become our advantage as a meditation of the form and as a form and emptiness. All sound hearing also should become a practice for sound and emptiness. And all thought arising should become a practice, because thought's nature is emptiness. So basically, that once we become a practitioner of Vajrayana, everything becomes a practice. There's nothing to abandon, nothing to reject. Once you arrive to that kind of a state, and then achievement of the practice becomes swifter, and therefore always remember that as you are being a Vajrayana practitioner and you have a strong irritation towards a certain sound, that doesn't say so much about your practice. people are moving around you, and you becoming more and more irritated, that doesn't say so much about your practice. Basically, as a practitioner of the Vajrayana, if you don't see everything as people walking around and making moving and this, if you don't see it as a deities, but at least we have to arrive to a state that says, yes, it is another other than opportunity of my practice of form and basically practice of the Vajra body and the practice of the Vajra speech and the practice of the Vajra mind like this. Basically, we have to see as a meditation practice rather than something as a beyond your no, not beyond, I say beyond, basically other than your practice, seeing as a not practice, that doesn't work at all. I'm not saying that I have all of these understandings, but I have that, how you say, at my aspiration. I understand, I understand, I say logically, so to speak, but I have the aspiration to really come to that state that everything is is Vajra body, Vajra sound, Vajra speech, and a Vajra mind like that. But at least I have that understanding that gives me a little bit of a platform to not get thrown off minute I see something. So anyway, we should think of that way. We should put focus on that way. That anyway, there are so many great masters in this world still, and we should be very, very, what do you call, thankful. We should be very, very appreciation and take full advantage of those great masters, which I was last year. I was in Nepal receiving teachings and so forth, and we should take these advantages. Life is not unpredictable, yeah. We don't know how long we live, so while we are alive, we should take advantage of receiving teachings or whatever we have received, then trying to put it to practice, make that as our priority, than other mundane samsaric things as a priority. Of course, we have to do samsaric things in order to survive, but should not be a priority. So, anyway, then also, yeah, that's about it. As a reminder to you, practice and then pray. To our Yangtze Rinpoche's study, his health. I mean, he is fine right now, but just keep him in your prayers. His health, his well-being. Right now, everything is going well, and just pray that everything will go well forever. And of course, Khandula, in our own lineage, and of course, our teacher Chandra Rinpoche is gone from this physical world, passed away, and now his incarnation is back. Khandula is still here with us, and we all should, since we are Vajrayana practitioners, then we should have the way of relating to her through the way the Vajrayana teaching says. And so therefore, again, how you relate to her, it tells you you have a Vajrayana way of Vajrayana understanding or not. So, as a reminder for Sanghas in general, senior Sanghas, we all have to remember it doesn't mean that if your teacher passes away, it doesn't mean that the Guru Yoga kind of ends there. So therefore, if your teacher is, let's say, a female teacher, if the female teacher passes away, then her consort also have to be respected. If the teacher is a male, then the consort, then you have to respect. Or the other one also, you know. If your teacher is a, let's say, female, male, it is Guru Yoga is Guru Yoga, isn't it? Guru Yoga is Guru Yoga. So you have to know how to really respect. So basically, if you don't, let's not go there. So anyway, so that's the way it is. You know, we have still Khandulai still with us, and we have to pray for her long life, and supporting her activities. And she's having great activities, and we all should rejoice and support as much as we can support, serve as much as we can serve, either through physically, verbally, mentally. So basically, always have that attitude. And then, when there is a very strong, nutshell is that when there is a very good Guru Yoga in the community, harmony is there. When there is no strong Guru Yoga, then all the problem comes. So therefore, it is a very, very important. And then, of course, Khandula is not here physically, but Khandula is in my practice of trauma times. Khandula is with me. And I'm sure wherever you are, when you're practicing times, then you have to have the Guru Yoga that way. Okay? And I hope this problem of this virus things, I hope goes away very soon. And also goes away very soon with the minimum harms in the world. And then whoever is suffering and whoever is passed away, and then we pray through the Trauma Namo practice as those who are sick, then removing their obstacles by the dakinis of all directions, just, how is it, chomping? Huh? Not chomping of all these problems by all the dakinis. And then those who pass away, they think of as though all are basically dissolving into the mind of the Tramanamo, mind of the Vajravarahi, mind of the Kunduzamo, basically. In a nutshell, the dissolving in the mind of the the Trauma Namo Mandala. Okay. Thank you and hope to see you soon. Huh? What? Oh, and also our Lamabama Dojo Rinpoche consort Khandro Kunzan and Trugu Rinzin Rinpoche, they are also joining with us in doing talk together. It'd be so nice that if Trugu was here, then he'd be sitting here next to me and we'd be doing it together. And at least we are still doing puja together. I'm so happy. So anyway, Trupula Dash Delay, Karukuzan Dash Delay. Om Benzato de Galembarenis. Om
37.
Jave Jengo Maluba Jenjoje no one gender. Tunde Soke Nyembonde Zongo Zonga Roji Jumbanza.
Benza Drodi Gale Bamharin Zavazit Palao Me Bonzondo Bedagelonde Danjego Nazaje do Lane Jana Bajeba Chugur Rambanzal Om Benza Drodi Gale Bamhare Nisa Naya Zama Samaya Niti Sawa Shatramara Nyabe
Index 7.
Maji Drama Namu Kusun Tu Yunden Chinle Mese Ba Genji Go Keji Dada Nido Drupa Jurji A E E U Re Le Le E O Anga Kaga Ganga Dada Dada Nya Dada Dada Lava Shaka Sahaja Umbanza Samaya Manapalaya Madasudam Badran Drumeva Suga Meva Suja Meva Anada Meva Zot Sogamas the Majram Shrim Kuru Ha Ha Ho Bangavan Savata Dangadam Dhanam Deba Ma Samaya Zato Yedama Hedo Pabava Dintikenta Dangado Ayova Dintikenza Ma Shamana Soha E O Lele O Anga Kaga Ganga Dada Danya Dada Dana Dada Dana Lava Shaka Sahaja Bandra Samaya Manapalaya Madasudam Badran Drumeva Suga Meva Suja Meva Anadumeva Zazan Sogamas the Majram Shrim Guru Ha Ha Upanga Savata Dangadam Madhubama Samaya Sato Umaye Dharma Hido Prabhava Hidin Tikenta Tangado Ayova Ditinge Vandama Shamanaya Soha E O Re Le Le E O Anga Kaga Ganga Dada Danya Dada Dana Dada Dana Bab Lava Shaka Sahaja Banza Samaya Manabaya Madasudam Badran Drumeva Suga Meva Suja Meva Anada Meva Sogamas the Majram Guru Ha Ha Upanga Savata Dangadam Debama Samaya Sato Umayeda Mayedu Babawaya Digan Tatangata Iowa Digan Soha
33.
Genesis practice. Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonan La Janju Bandu Dane Jabsunje Dake Jezoje Besonam Je Dola Benje Sanje Dubajo Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonan La Janju Bandu Dane Jabsunje Dagi jin so ji be so nam ji do la ben ji san ji do ba jo Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonan Lai Jan Jobado Dane Jazunje Dage Jenzoje Bezonan Je Dola Benje Sanje Dobasho Jowo Junje Mago Kondo Ka Zozan Je Volaje Tuje Jenje Dola Se Jende Zel Sovande Chadon Gorlo Jeve Jabodo Jendon Kaba Sambo Sanje Do Kanla Kandu De La De Dumbe Zumba Jen Zela Sovande Oman Beme Unre 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 Man 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 Beme Man be me ho re o man be me ho re o man be o man be me ho re o man be me ho re o man be me ho o man be me ho o man be me ho re o man be me ho re o man be me ho re o man o man be me ho re o man be me ho re o man be me ho re o man be me o man be me ho re o man be me ho o man pe me hon re o mane pe mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me hon re o mane pe me o mane pe me hon re o mane hon re le da lo virgin le juba ye dan dan le dan jumbo se wa so sem je ye ve de ve ne na ko je de kan so jo ma ju je je da je me de be se ja je ge je la le zen ra je be je de kan so jo wa ma
so to ne chi de nga
je ne pa je de kan so jo wa ma ju je je da jen je ka na tsu ba da ne je men za de tra je be ne je ba da be zen so je le je go la ne ba ma ju je ne be ge re don ra je ju da lo ni yen ro sun Drubchod Shija Za Shene La So Ba Ye Le Jen Kun La Tse Wa Ma Ju Je Le Sen De Wa Ma Lun Tro Je Be Jun Shin Tro Be Dun Ma Lu Shi Shin Dan Do Den Ba Da Tse De Ne Me De Je Den Ba Sho La Ma Gon Jo Sun Je To Je Dan Kan Ro Je Jun Su Me Nun Do Da Len Je Lo Wa Me Be Den Do Je Ngo Wa Mo La Da Se Dru Ba Sho Le Da Lo Bo Chen Le Je Ba Ye Dun Dan Ne Dan Jung Bon Tse Wa So Zem Jen Ye Me De We Ne Nan Kun Je Den Kan Sun Jung Wa Ma Ju Je Je Da Je Me Je Be Se Ja Je Ge Je Je La Yu Sen Da Je Be Son Tru Ne Je Dung A Je Nye Ba Je Den Kan Sun Jung Wa Ma Ju Je Je Da Shen Je Ka Nan Tsu Ba Da Ne Je Men Zan Tu Be Tra Je Be Nyin Je Ba Dan Da Be Ren So Je Le Jen Kun La Ne Ma Ju Je Ne Be Ge Re Dong Ra Je Ju Da Lo Bo Ye Do Sun Shi Ja Za Shi Ne La So Ba Ye Le Jen Kun La Tse Wa Ma Ju Je Le Sen De Wa Ma Le Tro Je Be Jun Shi Tru Be Dung A Je Nye Ba Ma Lu Shi Shen Dan Do Den Ba Da Se Re Ne Me De Chi Den Ba Sho La Ma Gon Jo Sun Je To Je Dan Kan Ro Je Chong Su Me Nun Do Da Len Je Lo Wa Me Be Den Do Je Ngo Wa Mon La Ta Zen Dru Ba Sho Le Dan Lo Bo Chen Le Jun Wa Ye Ne Dan De An Jung Bon Tse Wa So Sem Jen Ye Me De We Ne Nan Kun Je Den Kan Sun Jung Wa Ma Ju Je Je Da Je Men Je Be Se Ja Je Ge Je Je La Yu Sen Da Je Be Son Tro Ne Je Dung A Je Nye Ba Je Den Kan Sun Jung Wa Ma Ju Je Je Da Shen Je Ka Nan Tsu Ba Da Ne Je Men Zan Tu Be Tra Je Be Nyin Je Ba Dan Da Be Rem Su Chi Lu Chen Kun La Ne Ba Ma Ju Je Ne Be Ge Re Dong Ra Ja Ju Da Lo Bo Yen Tro Sun Ja Tru Ju Da Shi Ja Za Shi Ne La So Ba Ye Lu Jen Kun Lan Tse Wa Ma Ju Je Lu Sen De Wa Ma Lun Tro Je Be Jun Shin Tru Be Dung A Chi Nye Ba Ma Lu Shi Shin Dan Do Den Ba Da Tse Re Ne De Je Den Ba Sho La Ma Gon Jo Sun Je To Je Dan Kan Ro Je Jo So Me Nu Do Dan Len Je Lo Wa Me Be Den Do Je Ngova Mulan Dazi Drubchod Omaho Vaji Dosa Save Mamen Drame Gonzan Jebe Jendro Jesulama Jawa Zedan Mida Jedro Gandro Jejon Nola De Daga Jojon Gunla Gubeng Bolo Zewe Jesus Jeyonan Jindu Jejen Ladan Den Zon De Son Sa Ve Gewe
Tu Pao Den La Me Ku Tse Ra
Den
Ten
Je Den Be Jen Dan Na Dan Da Wa Ye Che Se Me Nur Bu Jan Zen Den Zo Je Ja We Den Ba Je Je
Chi
Da La Zang Yen Le Jin De Je Gan E Gan Da Ja We Jen Zen Jun Dro Na La Men De Be Go Shu Go Za Ja Se Chen Bo Do Pa Ju Mo Je Do Sun Sa We Ma Me Da Me Gon San Je Be Chen Do Wa Ju Su La Gya Wa Se Da Je Ye Da Je Do Gan Do Je Jon No La De Da Ga Jo Jong Gun La Gu Be Bu Lo Ze We Je Su Su Je Yo Nam Je Do Je Je La Den Zun De Sun Sa Ve Ge We Ba De La Me Gu Ze La Den Jen Den Be Jen Na Dan Da Wa Ye Je Se Me Nu Nu Bu Jan Zen Den Zo Je Ja We Den Ba Je Je
Chi Da
La
La
Zang En Le Jin Je Je
Gan
Ne Gan Da Du Ja We Jen Zen Jun Dro Na La Me Te Be Go Jun Ne Go Zan Ja Se Jen Bo Do Ba Ju Ma Hong Je Do Sun Sa We
Ma
Me Ne Tra Me Gon Zan Je Be Chen Dro Ju Su La Ma Ja Wa Se Dan Ye Da Shi Do Gan Ro Je Jon La No La De Da Ga
Jo
Jong Gon La Gu Ben Bu Lo Ze We Je Su
Yo
Nam Je Du Je Chen La Dan Den Zun De Sun Sa Be Ge Wen Du Pa ne kawanda do jave jenze jondro na la me te pe go jone go za ja se jambo to pa shu gewan de nyod Chirezi wan drubjone drova chikjamalu te sala gopashu chanchu semchu rinpoche ma je panam jebju je ba nyamba
Kone konde
Vashu chanchu semchu rinpoche ma je panam jebju je ba nyamba me Kone kondo beba shu, chanchu simchu rinpoche, ma je banam je gyurje, jeba nyamba. Kone kondo beba shu, nanda rezo langa chugu nga, kudan yishe roban jamle, sabsan nanjuru chenpo nyamle la, irme tukje dele roje shu. Kewa kundu yanda Njalme chuje bala longju jin sadan lamje yonde ra Alden lame gomba nyundo jo
Thank you, Rinpoche.